Co-op to C-suite. This is the dream of many current and prospective Lindner students. But how can this dream be realized? How can a Lindner student, 1, land a paid professional experience with a company they identify with, 2, succeed enough to land a full-time job offer, and 3, perform well enough to eventually ascend to a C-suite position? Students, we've got you covered. Today's episode of Bearcats Mean Business features Nick Enger, President and Chief Technology Officer for Advanced Technology Consulting of Ohio, who is here to supply listeners with his co-op to C-suite journey. Nick, who earned his degree in Operations Management and Supply Chain Management, co-opted with what was then known as Advanced Technology Consulting in 2006 and has been with them ever since, rising the ranks to the C-suite. Welcome, Nick, to Bearcats Mean Business.
Fantastic to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. This is an honor.
Yeah, we appreciate you having here. Now, Nick, let's start off with this. Take us back to the beginning, 2006. You're seeking a co-op experience. What's your search process like then, and how did you land on Advanced Technology Consulting?
That's a great question, and it's a fun story to tell. I love telling it. So while I was at UC, I was working full-time at a country club. So I was paying my way through school up in Mason, Ohio. We were just talking about that. Yep. Heritage Club was the country club I was working at, and I was thinking like, hey, the summer before my senior year, I probably should be doing something more than serving and bartending, maybe get into the real world a little bit. And with that, I was approaching a couple members, and one of the individuals I was talking to, his name was David Goodwin. He was the founder of ATC. And he had mentioned that he had this little technology startup company, a consulting company. And I was intrigued by technology at the time, so I said, hey, if you know of anybody that might be interested in a co-op, I'd love to hear about opportunities in the local market. And lo and behold, he said, well, I have this little company and I'm looking for some help. And I didn't know what that really meant at that time. I didn't really know where his offices were. Come to find out, his offices were actually in the basement of his house. So it was a true startup company. Okay. So one thing led to another. David graciously offered me a co-op position. He probably didn't know what he was getting into, and I certainly didn't know what I was getting into. But one thing led to another, and I learned through that process, small companies have a fit in the marketplace, and oftentimes they get overlooked when you're going through the college experience, and especially as good as UC is in the College of Business, Lindner School College of Business, oftentimes it's filled with the Fortune 500. It's the larger organizations reaching out saying we need co-ops. But there's a ton of opportunities in the small business, medium-sized businesses that get overlooked, and there's tons of great opportunities out there. So I did land at ATC. I ultimately was there in 2006, and once we went through the summer, and then I was like, hey, I don't want to go back to bartending and serving for my senior year because I was paying my way through school at that point. I wanted to make sure that I had a good position at ATC come once I graduated.
Right.
So I ended up working my senior year through at the College of UC as well as at ATC, working about 24 hours a week. And I really started to learn the business. And I'll tell you, it was a difficult conversation with mom and dad as I'm graduating college. And I'm talking with the likes of Procter & Gamble and General Electric and this little company out of David Goodwin's basement called ATC. And I'm telling mom and dad, hey, I think I'm going to give it a go with this small little company. I really like the people I work with. I think we're changing the way people look at technology services. And lo and behold, we struck a deal, and 19 years later, I'm still with this company. So it's a fun story to tell.
Still with them. And so what was it beyond just the feel of how they were changing the game that made you have your this is my future moment during your co-op?
Yeah, as we were going through this transformation as a small company, you kind of move and pivot with the industry. And I'll give you a little bit of background on what we do. We're in the technology consulting world. At that time, cloud-based communications had just come out, called voice over IP or cloud-hosted VoIP at the time. With that hosted VoIP, it was a different conversation that we were having with businesses. It was a transformation of how they interact with every one of their customers, how their employees interact with each other, because it was the true communications platform that they were using for their business. So at the time, we were really looking at a lot of transactional, like, let's help you save money. And there wasn't much value proposition outside of cost savings. Well, now this was an operational change. Now it's a business change. Now we're talking to the C-suite about how this business operates. And for me, that's when the light bulb went off. That was when I was like, okay, I really like this technology. I really like what the operational efficiencies that are created through this technology. And I like the conversations I'm having with these business owners because it's going to change the way they do business. It's going to change the way they interact with their clients for the better. So for me, that was my aha moment. That was the moment I was like, this is for me. I love helping people. I love interacting with people. I love business operations. I learned that through this college. Like, I love the aspect of business operations, how we can make it more efficient, more effective through the use of technology.
And so the day-to-day at the beginning, you fell in love with. What does your day-to-day look like now that you're president and CTO?
Oh, man. So from the CTO aspect, internally, I'm responsible for our entire technology stack. So our whole stack, from a security, application, CRM, ticketing system, the entire stack, soup to nuts, I'm responsible for not only the maintenance, but the continuous development of it. Externally, I have a team of consultants that are engaged with projects all across the country. At any given time, we have between 150 to 200 projects that our consultants are helping businesses in the mid-market navigate technology services, if you will. So we have 5 core consulting practices: voice, network, cloud, cybersecurity, data, and AI. We go very deep in all 5 of those categories. And then we also have a hospitality IT division that assists hotels and resorts with all their technology needs. So most of my day is working with our employee base, making sure that they have the tools they need to be able to do their job as efficiently as they can,
All right.
and ultimately help our clients.
Sure. And what would you say to maybe future employees of ATC, or just in general tips to students seeking to emulate your path of co-op to C-suite?
Go above and beyond. I think that that's something that I've strived to do throughout my career, is not only with clients, with employees, with leadership. Just go the extra mile. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Take some risks. I would say like that would have been something I would tell my younger self. Don't be afraid to take the risks early in your career. And I would say get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's where growth really occurs, is when you're uncomfortable.
And where did you see that growth in yourself in terms of hard and soft skills during your co-op? And those skills that you built then, how have they changed or how they evolved since?
Yeah, I would say communication's key to all aspects of business. I would say written communication and verbal communications are mission critical nowadays. Admittedly, I wasn't the best writer. I wasn't a technical writer. I wasn't an executive writer. That's something that you learn over time. But I think that's something that if you really focused in on early in your career and somebody was telling you like, hey, you should focus in on this. I wish I had that earlier in my career. I had some great mentors in David Goodwin and otherwise that helped coach me up in that area. But that's certainly an area that every employee, everybody needs to have, is that communication, whether it's verbal or written, and that team aspect. Everybody's going to be a part of a team. Very rarely are you working in a silo. You're going to be communicating with other folks. So make an emphasis on doing it well.
Yeah, and that's something that applies to every area of business, no matter what you go into, is the communication part of that for sure. So how did you go about garnering trust and credibility as a young professional? You mentioned taking risks, a couple other things. How did you go about garnering trust and credibility?
For me, I think it was more about just doing the right thing at all times. Like, I think it was really about looking at the big picture, making sure that every decision I was making along the way, it was sound, it was just, and it was for the right reasons. If you do that, you can sleep well at night, and I think that you build trust with your leadership team. In the same vein, I would also add to that, if you're working for a manager or a leader along the way, make them look good, make their job easier. Like, try to find things that are outside of the norm that ultimately change the game for the organization, for the leadership team. Really push the envelope. Try to come up with creative ideas on making the business better.
Sure. 19 years at ATC, was it a natural upward trajectory to you to get where you've landed here, or were there any bumps in the road?
I think everyone's journey is going to have bumps in the road, especially in a small business, right? I could think of a number of things, but I would say for me, it's a little unique. Not many folks my age, I'm 40 years old this year, not many folks say that they interned at the same company they still work with. And I think that's something to be said. Like, I think there's also a sense of loyalty that goes along with that gets lost nowadays. I think that for folks coming out of school right now, that's something to think about. Like, you don't have to change jobs every 3 years just to get up in the world. There's some aspects of loyalty and long-term tenure and commitment.
And there are companies that are willing, of course, to offer that. It seems that way.
Absolutely. We certainly are. We are focused on attracting and retaining top-tier talent for a very long time in the future.
And for students dreaming about a future C-suite role, maybe such as yours, what would you want them to understand?
It's not always easy at the top. I will say, like, you try to take all aspects of decision-making into account. You try to think of things in all lenses before you make decisions. So decisions aren't always made quickly. It does take a lot of thought behind it all, but being respectful in those decisions has been very beneficial to us in our organization. I think our employees appreciate the visibility that we give to them. And as you're making your way up through the ladder, just going about it the right way, like I mentioned earlier, like just really being mindful of the decisions you're making all along the way.
Yeah, I'm sure you take into account your thoughts on management from when you were just starting out to now, thinking about them nearly 20 years later, like, oh, I can't forget what I was thinking about in
right.
06, 07, 08, saying about this, maybe about my manager, and now I'm in this position.
Right.
Yeah. So I understand you're pretty involved in the local community. How does that play into your leadership?
I think it's been instrumental. So I have a nonprofit that I run for a fallen soldier. It's called the Hoodie Memorial. It was a good buddy of mine that passed away in 2015. He was part of the U.S. Army Golden Knights. It's afforded me to do some wild and crazy things with the military, but we set this up in his name to give back to him in his legacy. So we do it at Lakota School District. We have a scholarship in his name that we've raised enough money at this point to give back in his name in perpetuity, and we've been so successful in doing that we've actually opened 2 additional funds. One for local veterans and active service members, and another for youth athletics in the local area. And all of those funds are housed at the Northern Cincinnati Foundation, and I'm on the board for the Northern Cincinnati Foundation. Tying that back all to leadership, I think it's very important to get tied into your local communities. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast is the University of Cincinnati and the College of Business gave me so much that I'm thankful for, that I wanted to pay it forward to be on this podcast and just be a part of the ecosystem that continues to build into the future.
What does success mean to you now? And how has that definition maybe evolved since your days at Lindner, or even the days of your co-op in your first full-time days at ATC?
I feel the most successful when our new talent is winning. Like when I start seeing it click in our new employees and they're starting to achieve things in their careers that they never thought was possible, that's the most fulfilling thing for me. So I love the development of young talent. I love seeing their success. I love seeing them grow as individuals, as professionals, as human beings, and to see the ideas that the young talent that we have on our team come up with, the ideas, the thought-provoking things that they put out there, that's fulfilling for me. Like there's some sayings I'm sure everybody's heard, like, don't be the smartest person in the room. I'm certainly not. I'll be a testament to that, but when you fill the room with smart people around you, it's incredible. It's so much fun. It's so enlightening. It's Yeah, I'm very proud of my team, and I get a lot of fulfillment. I feel very successful because of that.
Nick, let's close with 5 rapid fire questions to get a little bit to know a little bit more about you. Yeah. Number 1, what were your go-to coffee and meal establishments as a UC student?
Starbucks on Calhoun, and meal. This is a fun one. Well, not so fun, I guess. Habaneros on Ludlow just closed this past year after 25 years. So a little bit sad. So if I have to pick one that's still open, it's going to be Skyline.
I mean, who can argue with that?
Right.
Number 2, what's a leadership buzzword that you secretly love?
This actually goes back to college for me. Continuous improvement. I like that from a personal aspect, from a business aspect. Be better than yesterday. What you do today prepares you for tomorrow. That's how I live. That's my mindset every day as I'm in the gym in the morning, as I'm in meetings all day, every day. Be better for tomorrow.
All right, you and I are a similar age, so I'm interested to hear your answer to this one. Number 3, what song instantly takes you back to your college days?
Okay, so I have to give the same answer because I've given the same embarrassing answer over a handful of interviews. Ja Rule, Living It Up, is my go-to if it's going to take me back to college days.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, number 4, what's the first thing you do to start your workday?
4:45 workout.
Man, 4:45?
4:45. Got to be ready for the day. It clears your mind. Immediately you're ready to go. You hit the ground running right at 8 a.m.
All right, that's awesome. Number 5, 3 words to describe your time studying business at Lindner are blank, blank, and blank.
Oh, goodness. My first things come, I wasn't the best student. It would be early morning study sessions. It would be cramming last minute. But I would say all of that was beneficial for my career. I wouldn't be where I'm at without this school. And I can't speak high enough about the co-op and internship program here. If I could just real quickly, that's an aspect that most colleges don't get right, and the University of Cincinnati gets right, and more students need to take advantage of it. I just said I wasn't the best student. There's reasons for that. I am really good at the business aspect. I am really good at the business use cases. I get intrigued by the business use cases. I don't get intrigued by reading a study book, right? Or test taking. I really enjoy real life experiences, and I think that's what the college co-op and internship program gives you.
Right, and that's the benefit of going to UC, and more specifically Lindner, is you get the academic experience, but you also get the real world, multiple paid professional experiences outside the classroom to put you in a position to succeed.
Absolutely.
Nick, thanks for dropping by the Lindner podcast studio and outlining your journey from co-op to C-suite.
Oh, this has been fantastic. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Now, attention listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a comment or sharing your thoughts on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Your feedback helps more Bearcats discover the show. To learn more about co-op opportunities at Lindner, visit us at business.uc.edu. That's business.uc.edu. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Bearcats.